Yep. Surprise.
Zoom, that's a
Okay.
it's a switch.
It's the holiday spirit. People are wanting to.
People are ready for this year.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing either of our deval folks.
They're not going to be on until after 11.
Okay, good.
Yep. As well as Nick Goulet. So I had to switch some things around in the agenda to get everybody scheduled.
Thanks for working with us.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It all worked out just right. Thank you for setting all that up, John. Oh, Dave's popping in and out. Nick. Anissa, I haven't seen Richard. He's going to be on this morning, or not?
No,
No. Okay.
not that I know of.
Just double checking. That's right. You're just getting an update.
This is for Golden Muscle stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Just an update on progress. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. We're a couple minutes after 10. Welcome to the first Trinity County Collaborative Group meeting of 2026, the Rec Committee meeting. Harold popped out, but we'll go ahead and get started. We'll do a round of introductions in the room, and then I'll go to online on the Zoom call. My name is Kelly Sheen. I'm the Executive Director for the Trinity County Resource Conservation District and co-facilitator for the Trinity County Collaborative Group. I'll pass to my right.
Good morning, everyone. Jim Spear, co-facilitator with Kelly on the collaborative.
Good morning, Pete Finney, Weaverville, the general public.
Good morning, I'm Tara Jones, District Ranger here out of Weaverville, as well as Yola Bola, Hay Fork, and Big Bar.
Paul Hooser, Trinity PUD.
Anissa Interante, Ecological Monitoring Program Manager, Trinity County Resource Conservation District.
Mike McFadden, rec staff, West Side Staff Attorney. Matt Frost, Trinity Center Community Services District. You're seeing the bald spot.
Jill Cox, Board of Supervisors.
Monique Ray, Force Partnership Coordinator.
Carol Fall had stepped out, so she'll be back shortly, I suspect. Go to the big board here. I'm going to change my viewing. Let's see. We'll start with Thule.
Morning, everybody. I'm Thule Potts. I'm with the state of California Sierra Nevada Conservancy. Good to see you all.
Thanks for joining us, Thule. Ross and Susan.
I'm Susan Molyneux, public member.
Ross Molyneux, member.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. Clay.
Clay Grutch, project coordinator with the Forest Health Department at the RCD.
Thanks for hopping on, Clay. Laura.
Hi. Sorry I'm running late. Double booked myself. Laura Broadhead. I'm the acting field manager for the BLM Reading office, but my normal job is assistant field manager for recreation.
Awesome. Thanks for being here with us, Laura. Bob.
Bob Doucette, Public Affairs, Shasta Trinity National Forest.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Bob. And David.
Good morning, everybody. David Byers. I'm the outdoor recreation planner for for the Reading Field Office BLM, and currently detailing behind Laura as the assistant field manager.
Great. Thanks for joining us, David. I believe that's everybody that I can see. As I mentioned earlier, one of our follow-up items is going to be picked up a little bit later in the agenda. I had to kind of rearrange our standing agenda to address people's schedules for this morning, primarily Nick Goulet and the folks from DBOW for the Minorville boat ramp update. So at this stage, I will turn it over to Jim to facilitate the meeting. Thank you, Kelly.
Good morning once again. Great to see everyone on a cold January morning. We'll start with the agenda check. Anybody have any issues? We need to move anything around, add, subtract? Not seeing any. Collective memory minutes from our November meeting. Any edits or questions regarding minutes? Okay, moving on. A couple of follow-up items. So those that were in attendance in November, there was a fair amount of dialogue and questions about the Minersville Road repair update. I think the one that kind of popped up that no one had an answer for was just kind of the status of NEPA. Anybody can address, because I guess the context here was the road is in disrepair, and the question was, is there any plans currently to address that issue? And then someone commented that more than likely, I think it was Monique, due to the construction plans for the ramp itself, more than likely there wouldn't be, right? Because that process will tear the road up too.
Right, yep.
So anyways, Tara, do you have any thoughts on kind of where things stand with that road and how to kind of get it in shape such that people can actually access the ramp even before the new one goes in? Or
Fair.
Yeah.
We do, we are aware of the challenges with that road. We do need to get our engineers out there, and it is complicated by the fact that we will be running, a lot of heavy equipment over that road. So I don't have a good answer for you other than, we're aware of the challenges. We're trying to incorporate that into the timing of doing the construction for the Minersville boat ramp. It wouldn't have any, it's not covered under any of our current ongoing projects. So it's kind of a standalone project to look at after the construction of the boat ramp at this point.
Okay. Any further comments, questions on that one? All right.
I guess, should people be keeping their eyes open for possible sources of funding?
Well, that's always a yes, Pat. Thank you for, if there's a grant out there or there's some other funding that we can get to add into, and we'll talk funding a little bit when we get to the boat launch or the boat ramp update as well. But yeah, seeking additional funding so we can do both at the same time would be ideal. But right now, and I'm very happy to report we got a new forest engineer. So that position is now staffed. She transferred down from the Fremont Wainema. Unfortunately, she had worked on the Shasta Trinity before, and she's a Bernie girl, so she's got that going for her. Yeah. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. But getting Angie out there to take a look at that road and the whole project will be paramount. She just got on for us last week.
Well, cool.
So, but yeah, Pat, that's a really good point.
Is there any utility in us including that in our Trinity Alps like access planning at this stage, since we'll probably be completed before the boat ramp gets done?
Maybe. I mean, that's something we should dive into a little bit more.
I just wasn't, there was some discussion. I think part of the discussion had to do with like whether there was any coverage on it through either what's going on potentially with SNC's planning, the coordination that we're doing with the Watershed Center, and then the project that we're going to be working on, you know, after the Riverville Fuels project. So is that something that we should just at least consider?
Absolutely. I'm
Okay.
gonna make a note of that.
Okay, anything else on that? Not seeing any. Up next, this one's kind of popped up over the last several meetings. So Weaver Creek Trail proposal. I know the Watershed Center has kind of had their dibble and dabble in this one. I know BLM's probably got some background on this. Kelly, do you got any?
I did talk with some of our team yesterday, and it's been kind of batted around a little bit. And this is made a little bit confusing just because of the nature of like the ownership in that area. And some of the work that we're trying to accomplish with the Weaver Basin wetlands as well. I think the decision that was made is that, as we've kind of seen in the past, the desire is to tie downtown basically in with a trail system that connects all the way down through to the at least the wetlands and potentially, you know, further into various parts of the actual Weaver Basin trail system. The UROC is currently including, as I understand it, some level of planning for the potential of development of the trail from basically the confluence of East Weaver Creek and West Weaver Creek down to the wetlands. And because it's kind of in their project area for the actual Weaver Creek restoration that they're planning in that area. But as far as the northern piece, there's a couple of hiccups. One is crossing the creek, and then the other is getting through the BLM land to a piece of private property that then connects up to the actual Leaphone Park. So the current thinking is that we kind of start with what is already moving forward with the UROC, getting some additional funding to sort of address some of the challenges that we have, I mean, currently facing to, you know, with the lack of maintenance for the Weaver Basin wetlands itself, and then eventually working towards the acquisition of some sort of easement potentially through that private piece of property so that we can connect everything back up through BLM and that private property and then up to the Leaphone Park.
The Kathy Leakey's.
Yes.
Our property at 1.9.
Correct. Yeah. So so that's kind of where that sits. I think we're going to try and do it in phases at this stage. Clay, did you have anything to add to that? Because I know that you've been sort of involved in some of those discussions.
Yeah, I was talking to Gracie and Skylar just about the last meeting they had. And I think just with all the changes and challenges, things have kind of stalled for a little bit on the collaboration in between our different departments, but they're receptive to getting together again. I don't know, since I was at the OHV grants workshop yesterday, I was involved in y'all's discussions yesterday, so I don't know if y'all talked about having another meeting about this project.
I know that they're trying to move something forward with the Weaver, like a proposal for doing some restoration work down on the in and around the Weaver Basin wetlands. So we should connect and then try and get all of our heads together and start beginning the process of what that looks like over time. And I think there was some desire to get the Watershed Center involved as well.
Yes. Remember to keep NRCS involved because the Weaver Basin wetlands and the county land has a conservation easement.
Yeah.
And needs compatible use agreements and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been involved in all these discussions.
One thing to deal with is the collapsed bridge.
Right.
Because of safety issue.
Yeah. That's part of what we're hoping to address down in that area. But we have had the NRCS involved in that discussion as well. That's about what we know.
Very good, Kelly. Thank you for the Great, bringing that thing
I
together.
just
Yeah, Laura.
want to weigh in. So I will be signing the Weaver Creek decision here at this point next week. It's supposed to be this week for the restoration. And what it's like there, I think I sent out after the last meeting the feasibility study, which is an appendix to that. So if folks want to take a look, that was, I think, Jack from the Watershed Center just kind of envisioning through that stretch what it could look like. What the actual decision will be is basically to just kind of take some trails that are already there and try to sign like one main trail through the restoration area when the restoration is done. So that's the kind of immediate thing that will be happening in that area with the restoration when and if they get funding to actually do that work. And then I guess the request is just kind of, Kelly, as your team is, as a kind of coalition of people is forming, like, please include us at least in some of the discussions so that we can kind of stay up to date on what the coalition of people are who are working on this are talking about and thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. The main thing that simplifies it for us currently is just the fact that the wetlands is pretty much primarily on, county property. That's my understanding. So we were wanting to start with some of the more direct and impactful aspects of getting that area addressed, including the bridge, like removal and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we would absolutely have Beal involved.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Kelly, from the county, you would go through Drew, but probably Patrick will be.
We've been in contact with Patrick, yes. Yep.
Very good. Anything else on the Beaver Creek Trail proposal? Okay. So again, those of you that were at our November meeting had the opportunity to hear a really good presentation on the golden mussel issue. And so it was decided at that last meeting as well that this might be an important enough issue to kind of put on the agenda as a reoccurring item and get updates from Anissa. So she's here once again to give us an update.
Awesome. So we have a decontamination trailer that has been initiated for purchase. It takes 3 to 4 months to build out, but that has started. We should have it by early spring. If anyone didn't see the forest order that went out, I have a copy of it. It's enforcing a $5,000 fine for individuals and $10,000 for groups that may bring golden mussels or quagga or zebra to many of the Shasta Trinity reservoirs. I'm still waiting to hear from 2 more grants for staff resources and salary time to do decontaminations. But as of right now, we just have the trailer going and money for equipment and training. If you didn't hear last month's presentation, we're going to be doing it at Rotary again next week on the 15th, noon at the golf course. And then hopefully at the February TPUD meeting.
February 12th, if you want to put it on your
February 12th.
March for it, yeah.
That presentation was reviewed and approved by CDFW. There were just some minor temperature ranges that they adjusted, but everything else was on par with what they're willing to release to the public. And then it's been kind of a moving target trying to evaluate economic losses. I have found some articles online that estimate like hundreds of millions to billions in the next 5 years to different levels of infrastructure and recreation and agriculture. Those are getting scrubbed from the internet. So it's kind of hard to find someone with a real economic number on what the impact of this is going to be. But we're just trying to do the best we can and see where our resources come in.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Anissa?
2 p.m.
When I heard and read the Forest Service release on the 5,000 for that, 10,000 for that, I didn't feel comfortable with how that read. feeling like if you do your due diligence and you try. So I asked Rachel about it. And she said, it's only if you're asked to do your part and do your best and you don't. So you don't have to like have this fear factor of I'm trying, but those little dudes are teeny. What if they're in my carpet and I tried, right? So if that comforts anyone else.
Because without the forced order, you could have some boat that's just covered in mussels that made no effort, and there would be no way to hold them to account, right?
Well, and that has been enforced at least once, right? Because you had mentioned somebody on Shasta.
I felt like in the article in the Record Searchlight, it mentioned somebody receiving a fine already.
So I'm
Serves.
But are there any current inspection mechanisms in place to actually determine who's complying and who isn't?
We're still working through the education part of it, and we also are trying to figure out the staffing and inspections and all of those things prior to going into next.
So is this something like if you're out on the lake and I guess the sheriff still patrols, right? Right?
No.
Sometimes.
Oh,
Wouldn't
you mean
Yeah.
their
On
boat
boat,
patrol? No. No,
They don't do
Will
that
is,
anymore?
well, they do in the summer. They don't do this time of year, although there's a
No,
lot
I'm
of,
saying,
there's a lot of
you're out
bass
on the lake
boats
in the
out
summer
there.
in July and you get
Yeah.
told, are they
But-
gonna check for
I don't think so.
golden mussels? Okay,
Um,
just want to, I'm a boater, I just want to make sure.
I mean, I can certainly.
Okay, last year I needed my safety permit after being on the water for 40 years.
I mean,
but,
we can certainly ask, Sheriff Saxon, but I don't think Will has that kind of expertise at all. And I would say right now, there's a bunch of boats out there with the bass fishing, and they're not, they're just putting in at Trinity Center or wherever.
If you look at the number of ramps on Trinity and Shasta, it's virtually impossible to
Correct.
cover. I mean, you just gotta be realistic about
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Anissa. All
We do
right,
need to work on the special use permit associated with the trailer, so happy to work with you on that.
Yeah, and I think we've landed on Osprey, might be the best location for that. In that Stewart's Fork, and I think the group was saying Stewart's Fork gets too much use.
It's safer to pull in and out of Osprey versus Stewart's Fork.
Yeah, just for timing too, our board approved the purchase of the trailer at the December meeting. We pretty much immediately tried to get the order put in. And then we anticipate the actual delivery of the trailer itself in like March or April,
Yeah.
I think. So it'll be kind of timely as we're moving into the season.
Okay, I'll get somebody to sign to that permit.
That would be great.
And then, Jim, you had asked me to check on an account balance for the fines and fees that come in. And that's like a 4-digit number. It's not.
and I know you were pursuing some grants, Anissa, have you been successful or what's the status of some of that effort?
One of the Fish and Wildlife ones was denied, but it's also nationwide, and that was more education and outreach focused. I have another Fish and Wildlife one and a Bureau of Reclamation one. So I'm hoping the Bureau of Reclamation one will do one that comes through. That's interest.
Do we have a timeline for when will appear?
The Fish and Wildlife one was delayed because of the federal shutdown, so all of their stuff was set back for like a month and a half or so. But the BOR one should be this month.
Very good. Well, we'll keep this one on and have you back again. Up next, we've got BLM. Laura, is that you?
Yeah, I'm going for this one, and then I think the next one, David, will be the point of contact here. But good morning, everyone. Just as like kind of status update for the office, Jennifer Mata is on a temporary assignment to help our desert district. So I will be acting field manager until April. David is going to be the acting assistant field manager until April, and then hopefully we'll all shuffle back to our status quo. Our staff probably hasn't changed too much since the last time I was here. We basically have six people in our rec staff, you know, for, I don't know, 500 miles of trail, 100 or probably 50 or so rec sites, 5 campgrounds. So it's a slim crew. But they're still doing good work out there. We're trying to do what we can. Supposedly we're going to be able to hire seasonals, but I'm not hopeful that they'll be here in any time to be helpful. So yeah, that's kind of the status of our people in terms of priorities for Trinity County going into 2026. We right at the end of the year unlocked the vault toilet, and I guess that was our opening ceremony for the Junction City boat ramp, new and improved. If you haven't been out there, it looks really cool. The restoration looks really cool too. So we're excited to see how people continue to use that and kind of modify the site as the recreational users kind of demonstrate what they want to be doing out there in terms of parking and kiosk and table and, you know, that sort of stuff. So yeah, please go down there and check it out. Hopefully it will also be a good spot for people to kind of beach, hang, swim. Looks like some people have already kind of identified kind of paths that might develop, and we'll just be monitoring that and trying to facilitate access to the river there as much as possible. So that was some good news from in December. And then, yeah, looking forward, we'll be focusing on getting our campgrounds open. You know, it's a big lift with a slim crew. So getting our campgrounds open this season. We've talked on and off about rec.gov. It was really successful for us, and we're going to continue to move towards that. We have better fee compliance, which the fee compliance supports the actual maintenance on the ground of those facilities, which now is more important than ever. So Douglas City will still have a handful of first come first sites, but the majority of Douglas City will be reservation. We do allow same day reservation. So if sites aren't booked up, people can reserve them and use them. And then Steel Bridge and Junction City we haven't quite decided, but it looks like we'll go to half reservation, half first come first serve, which, you know, Steel Bridge will fill up, but Junction City is never full. So we think it will, you know, there's still an opportunity for people to camp if they show up in Trinity County for the night and need a place. But we'll likely see more use of the Junction City campground also, which I think will, you know, benefit our rec fees, which again go to help support the maintenance of those facilities. We're also going to be working on getting Steiner Flat campground upgraded so that we can reopen it and charge a fee there, which I know I've been saying for like 3 years now, but I swear we're going to do it this year. So yeah, those are our priorities kind of as we go into 2026. If anyone has any questions or thoughts about any of that.
Laura, you had said you kind of have limited capacity for prepping campgrounds. I know that you've had us assist in years past. Do you see a need for that this year?
You know, David and I need to maybe strategize a little bit about how we're gonna get through all the dead tree removals and stuff that have to happen every year. We also have no money, so I don't know.
Understood. Okay, well,
but I'll keep you. We'll get a plan together, and we'll see if it would be helpful this year, and I'll let you know as soon as possible.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you, Laura, for that update. Any other questions for Laura? Okay. Moving on to Forest Service updates. Reports. I don't see a Six Rivers rep. Okay.
Let's send Jim.
All right, Tara.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I'm glad I have Mike here so Mike can get into a lot of the specifics. We'll talk briefly. Okay, that one's on its own, so I'll save that one. Our staffing is actually pretty good. Mike and his staff did a great job of hiring early on, and we've managed to, for the most part, come through some of the turbulence of last year with a lot of our staff intact. And they continue to work through the furlough, and we're out doing a lot of hazard tree mitigation in our campgrounds and working really hard. With the transfer of the NRA, the two lakes coming over to the Weaverville Ranger Station district, Mike and his staff have been very, very engaged in being responsive to whatever needs come up, and it's really already started to pay dividends in the clear lines of communication. Like, hey, I saw this here. Can you guys go fix it? Doesn't have to go to Reading to come back to us. So that's been really efficient. And I know there's some, just little things, and the crew's been taking, and the staff's been taking a lot of pride in the work that they've done. That little non-motorized launch there by Pine Cove and those kinds of things.
Curfew launch, yeah.
Yeah, those are all coming together really nicely. So I'll let Mike give you the project specific updates on what we've been doing rec-wise, and if you have any questions, I'm here for you as well. Then I can talk to some of this other stuff. Mike.
Well, that's pretty good summary. We're also looking at the cemetery fence in Harrison Gulch. There's a public cemetery on public lands there at the historic county, and so that's kind of a side project. We're trying to re-fence it and bring it back to life because it's very poor repair. So that's kind of a side job we're working on these days. Our cabins are snowed in now that we've been working on, so we're dropping that for now. And like Tara said, the fuel reduction under the form of hazard tree removal of campgrounds, we really got a good start on that. It was eating our lunch, and then we were pigeonholed into a situation where this is the work we're doing. And so we embraced it. We jumped in there and attacked. And so we've got a lot of hazard trees down. We'll process a lot of that stuff. And then Lewiston Lake, we're continuing to try to make more of a splash there. See what it is there. So if you get a chance to go out to Lewiston Lake and you haven't seen it, well, please do. Terrace View, the motorized, non-motorized boat launch there. There's about 3 acres of treated ground right there at the trail right now where you used to couldn't even see the lake as you drove by. And then when you drove into the site, you still couldn't see the lake. And now, it's very opened up. It's very welcoming. And it's our first swat at that. We'll be taking it again next year because that's the nature of that beast. The boat launch there at Pine Cove is once again with 3 years now of attack on that one. And I think we're really starting to get a handle on it. We are still pretty heavily engaged in the Hayward Flat campground logging situation there. The loggers are done. We've been in there, and yeah, it looks like it's rough, but it's not near as rough as we were expecting. We're all pleasantly surprised. Like, this is manageable. We can fix this. So we're currently in the middle of that. We'll be running our track out there first thing Monday morning and start shoveling logs out on poles and things like this, and really clean it up. So I think we're on track for the best we can do with what we got. And yeah, sure we're not catching everything, but we're catching what we can.
You have done more work at Fairview. Beautiful.
Thank you. With a lot of work, and people really invested themselves in that.
It's amazing. It's more amazing than it was last year.
Well, I will say the staff has taken a lot of pride in having, in the ownership that comes with the responsibility of managing all of those lakes, and it really shows. I did want to, while we're talking about Hayward, just talk about on the 14th, I'll have a little informal field trip, and we'll 12:30 at Hayward Campground, Flat Campground, we'll open up the gates, let people go in and see now that the logging's complete. Mike and his folks will still be in the middle of what they're doing. They're taking the coal logs instead of burning them at the campground. We're going to lug them out and put them somewhere for firewood access. So we'll be doing that on the 14th at 12:30 at the gate.
Cool. And I'm glad you brought up Fairview, Joe, because it's kind of a coachable moment. You went out and saw it right after we were done, probably. We went back in just a few weeks ago.
I was there like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, yeah, we had 3 foot high already again.
Yeah.
And so
But you
we've
took
gone
out more
back
than
in.
that. It looks like there's trees removed from the upper. You can see the lake at the very high end of the parking lot now.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And we made the commitment. We're gonna probably drop something here and there to try to stay on that, but in the past, what we've done is gone in, hogged it all out, and come back in 10 years and do it all again. And right now, we want to like hit it 3 years in a row. It seems we can really make a dent in it, because you start pulling Scott's broom and you just make it mad. And it's mad now. You know, it's not the time to walk away from the fight. We decided we're gonna engage in this, we're gonna be in this for a few years and see if we can get past the now it's mad stage and like we actually got a handle. So we're gonna keep trying on that one, because it is an important boat launch, and we've invested a lot of money in getting it to where it is now, and we're going to try to keep that.
Also, the Jackass Springs Campground has had some activity, and we'll be over there getting that cleaned up as well. So that campground was a timber sale that was sold to improve the forest health. So we're not. So if, in case there's, just to connect the dots, the reason we're doing forest health treatments through the campgrounds is to get out of this reactive hazard tree. Those trees are dying for a reason, and there's too many of them. There's not enough light, enough water. And so we're trying to address, anytime we have a forest health treatment going on, we're including the campgrounds so that we can improve the forest health, so that we get out of this pattern of having the trees die and having to address them as a hazard tree.
Okay, so we're good on your.
What's the
report.
status of the special use permit with the campground concessionaire? When does that come up for renewal? For the campgrounds?
I'm gonna find out, Carol. That's not one I don't know. I can find out quickly.
Just because, so Shasta Rec has the permit now, I guess, as the concessionaire. And so when it starts coming up for renewal, there are, I think, discussions we'd like to have, like reopening Stony Point, getting the water system there fixed so that the fishermen can use that. There's other scheduling issues with some of the campgrounds when they open and close. And so we just would like to be part of that discussion when that does come up for renewal. I'm assuming that.
Is that an annual process, Karen?
No, it's every
5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it's been a while since
If they get a certain number of renewals, and then it has to be put out to bid.
and it's been a while, and the discussions start early, so that's why I was not sure the timing. And I'm assuming that would be, even though it's a special use permit, is that what it is for the tire, the concessionaire, or is it something that goes through the Shasta Lake office or through your office?
Because the concession is for both, all the lakes.
Yes.
So it could.
So, but your point is well made, that even if the concessionaire contract or agreement permit is being managed out of the Reading office, we want to make sure that the concerns on this side for these lakes are addressed. That's totally fair, and I will get on that timing.
One of the things this committee's been talking about, Mike knows, is somehow resolving that Trinity Center disconnect between the marina and the parking lot, which is managed by the concessionaire. So that might be something, as you renew the agreement, say we're going to hand off the parking lot to the marina people or whichever, so that it's just all one thing.
I'm familiar with that issue.
That would be part of that kind of discussion.
Very good. We are running ahead of schedule a little bit, so Oh, you did? Very good. Okay.
I bring lots of people so that we can, next river didn't show up, so we're gonna just handle it. We'll take all the time.
Folks may have heard in this room, but the Secure Rural Schools Act did get reauthorized, and I would just like to draw attention to Doug Lamalfa, who is a local congressional of Shasta County that has been a really big proponent in getting that reauthorization in place. And unfortunately, this week he did pass away.
Yeah, like
Suddenly, wow.
Yeah.
aortic aneurysm.
Yeah.
After you.
Yeah, so I just want to call attention to him because
We'll get to you.
Advocate for that program. And Russ, go ahead. Well, yeah.
Go ahead, Ross.
Before we get too far away from Lewiston Lake, you know, I'd like to see, since the trail around the lakes does start at the end of Lewiston Lake there, there's several trails at Lewiston Lake, but none of them are connected. And I'd like to see a trail or connecting of those trails up so somebody could start there and walk the trail along. I realize that the lake pinches off, you know, access, you know, in some places, but you know, in the end result, I'd like to see is a trail that takes a lot along the Lewiston Lake and connects you up with the past Fairview with the trail around the lakes.
Interesting.
I'd like to everybody just kind of keep that in mind.
And a link to what Monique was talking about, the RAC, actually the RAC of 1 year approved a grant of money to complete some of that missing stuff, but something went wrong, went haywire, and I can't remember what it was. It never got done.
Are we talking about, I'm not
It was
sure.
private, it was on private land, I believe.
Oh,
Is it the
that's
trail by
the
Pine Cove?
Yeah, something like that.
There was not very much money and it was mostly brushing.
Yeah, but anyway,
And they had trouble
so
coming to an agreement with Forest Service on how to implement that contract or liability and all that
anyway,
stuff.
be worth at least
It was on
go
private
back and
land.
finding that one.
Yeah.
Figure out how, you know, when Title II comes back around again, maybe there's potential for that future RAC.
When we have to walk along the road, that's fine, you know, but every opportunity we have to get off into nature and look around, you know, whether it's the most direct route or not doesn't bother me at all. But you know, if we have to go up alongside the road, we're fine with that. But it's not a county, it's a county road, not a state.
And hey, Ross, this is Mike speaking up here. Just so you know, we have tied in with some of the folks there that are very active around Lewiston Lake, and they're forming a citizens committee. I think Molly Contos is going to be the chief lead for the committee on that one. But we've tied in with them, and we're working on trying to get some of those open. The very trails you're speaking of, and you know, there's some issues we got to work through, like the marsh that goes in between the boat launch and the first section of wide area. Just past the trailer parks there at Pine Cove. You know, little things like that, and where do we put it when the road pinches it right up against the lake? But the trails that show on the map, we're working on opening those first because it's like that's a no-brainer, and then we're going to work on stitching those together later. But it's definitely on our radar, and we're kind of moving that way. So I'm glad you brought it up. Thanks.
I'm glad you're working on it.
Yeah. So if you want to join Friends of Lewiston Lake, you can join their committee.
I think I've already been on that, except for everyone died. So if they got a new group, yeah.
But he should have been.
Yeah, give Molly a call.
He knew about it.
I believe she's the chief lead on that one.
Anything else?
Yeah, so I was for the Secure Rural Schools Act, just wanted to provide a quick update of where we're at. So our charter has expired and we don't have any committee members at the moment. For folks who weren't involved in previous conversations, our committee involves 15 individuals that are ideally local, so within Trinity County. However, we can make an exception if they have ties to this area as long as they're within the state of California. We're not allowed to do outreach right now because our charter is expired, but once our charter is renewed, which we're anticipating will happen mid-January, then we're going to start doing outreach. And I'll just ask everyone to keep an eye out for that and keep an eye out for anyone that may be a good participant. It's pretty low commitment. We probably will meet at a maximum 4 times a year. Unless we really need to meet more than that, which doesn't usually happen, but 4 times a year for 3 hours. And the meetings are sent out really far in advance because we need to do that to stay in compliance with our Federal Advisory Committee Act. But once that happens, I'll keep everyone in the loop for the outreach, and hopefully everyone will keep me in the loop of anyone that they think would be a good fit.
weren't we in a place with the previous, like, didn't we have a fair bit of folks that were sort of transitioning out and then transitioning in? And the last I heard that we had something like 11
Yes.
positions filled before the charter expired.
We had 11 individuals that did let me know that they're interested. They sent in their application form. That's okay.
Sorry,
that's okay.
fire
You're right.
department stuff.
We did have 11 previous applicants, and they sent in their information. This was probably around a year and a half ago now. And since then we got new applications, and I will have to ask them to resubmit their information. So it's a give or take of whether they'll still be interested in participating or not. Sometimes we do get a few people drop off.
But that's where we're starting
Mhm.
as far as trying to rebuild the
Everybody who was on terms have expired.
Right, so those 11 people have to reapply still.
Right.
Yeah, so I need to turn in my application again. I think.
Yes, but
Well,
once our charter is renewed.
Yep.
Monique, do you have a sense that under the last administration, there was a rule, but a policy that was being used that people who were RAC members couldn't reapply, that they want after a certain number of years, you had to get somebody new? Is that still gonna be the case, do you think?
Yeah, the 2-term maximum, it could change when our charter comes through. Actually,
Advocate for changing it.
I'll have to reread the new act and how it was reauthorized, because I think the guidelines were provided in the act instead of the charter, so I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
So, so that's the Title III money. Do you know when the Title II money, when does the Title III money go to the county?
That I don't know, but all of it was reauthorized 1, 2, and 3.
And they were getting a previous year's allocation
Yeah.
as well as the future allocation.
Yeah, so this April is usually when we get it. So we are receiving 2 years of funding is what we're anticipating.
So April is when you're gonna get the Title II?
I believe so.
Can you check to see when 3 comes through?
And it's something to check for the county, from the county perspective also is usually the county board of supervisors has to make a decision on how to split up the Title II and Title III
The percentages.
Yeah.
percentages.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah, but don't you have to just reauthorize that every so often?
Yeah, but within a new act.
Oh,
That's gonna start over.
That's a
Get
good
good
point.
in jail, do that for like $200.
Yeah.
So you'll ask that as well.
Yeah, I'll check in on that.
Full doubles.
It's hard to mention secure rural schools and not really in every forum highlight the work done by Jamie Green to advocate for Trinity County. So
Yeah. And with that, Jamie was awarded the 2025 RCRC President's Award. He also has a beautiful resolution that was created by Renalpha and his staff. One of the last things Jeff did was to sign that resolution, and it was on its way to Weaverville on Tuesday morning. And then with his passing, of course, his staff just couldn't certainly undertake that. So at a date yet to be determined, that will come over the hill will be awarded to him. And then also Huffman's office, Schiff's office has created a beautiful thank you of sorts. And they're working to get that to him as well. So all kinds of gratitude flowing that direction. And I was thinking this morning that we need to, I think Sheree Beans made every trip except one of those with him to DC. And so it's easy to leave out those support people who also are so important.
absolutely.
Very good. We good on that item. So we do have a couple of new guests that have joined us and relatively timely since we do have
Sorry,
that.
can I go
Or-
back? I just wanted
Oh,
on the
sure.
subject of racks.
Yep.
I just wanted to give an update on the BLM rack, which is that our charter is expired and there is not, how do I say this? We don't anticipate that we will get a new charter anytime soon. So at this point, the BLM does not have a functional rack, and we don't have a timeline or plan to have one.
All right, thank you for that update, Laura. Okay, so yeah, we have a couple of new guests with us. So maybe Karen, do you want to start us off with an introduction?
Hi there. Thank you for inviting us. My name is Karen Dill. I am Chief of Grants and Loans with the Division of Boating and Waterways, and I believe we're on for your next agenda regarding Minersville.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us today. So we'll let Joe go next and introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Joe Dukes, and I manage boat launching facility projects on the current deal for the Division of Boating and Waterways.
All right. Well, thank you for both of you joining us this morning. This has been a subject of a lot of interest over many years. So hopefully you can give us an update on where things stand. But before we do that, does anyone else just kind of want to start that off, Tara, as far as kind of where I know we had hoped Marcus was going to be here. I guess Marcus.
So Marcus is on, so based on the feedback that we did get on the plans that we submitted, it became very clear that there's a funding gap. And so Marcus is actually on a meeting with an internal forest meeting to start to figure out if there's a way to get enough funding to cover the gap.
Sure.
So in Marcus's defense, he's not here, but he is 100%
On the job. Yeah.
Yeah, he is in a meeting as we speak with trying to figure out the funding, filling the gap for the funding on Minersville. But and I appreciate I got to work with Joe a little bit. We had a snafu. I just want you to know that this is really important to me, this project. As a matter of fact, we managed to send the plans to the wrong place this winter, and they came back to us and it was like, well, we'll try. I'm like, no. So I grabbed an employee. I'm like, drive this to Sacramento. So we literally drove the stuff down to Sacramento. So I am as frustrated with the delays and the challenges that you all are living with as you are. So I'm interested in this update. We did assign Marcus as a project leader, so there would be a person, a single point of contact, so that we stopped, playing whack-a-mole and could actually get the thing moving across the finish line. So I'm curious to hear what DBOW has to say.
Sure. So Karen, Joe, who wants to start off here just to give kind of a update on where things stand with our boat ramps? Kelly, did you have something?
We have one more person that joined us also.
Another DBOW.
No, that's Angie. That's our new
service.
That's our Bernie girl, our new engineer.
Okay. Angie, you want to introduce yourself?
Maybe.
Okay.
Probably one of those Teams Zoom things.
Yes, it always takes a minute to get used to Zoom. But I think we can still just go ahead and go to DBOW.
So Karen, Joe, who wants to start us off?
So I will, and then Joe, you can fill in if I miss something or misspeak. We would actually prefer to defer until Marcus arrives, if that's possible. Would that be possible?
Sure.
If not, we can provide an update.
I've got some of the specifics. I just don't want to mess it up for you guys. Oh, he says he's on.
Okay.
Oh, there he is.
Nailed it. That means everything.
You are good, Sarah. You
I
are
mean,
good.
out of nowhere. Boom. If only.
Magic touch.
Maybe that's what I need to do more. How to get things done on the forest, just send a text.
All right, Marcus, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes. Yes. Very good. Thank you for joining us, Marcus. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, most definitely. Hi, everyone. My name is Marcus Nova. I'm with the Shasta Trinity National Forest. I've worked with some of you in the past, maybe under a different job title, but today's capacity, I'll be serving as the project manager over this Minersville project, and here to provide you guys an update. I also, I don't know if she was able to get on, but we have Angie, our new forest engineer, and our good friends from the Department of Boating and Waterways, Karen and Joe, are on. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to give you an update on the project.
Well, I do see Angie. So maybe Angie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Well, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself before we let Marcus give us kind of an update.
Sure. Hi everyone. I'm Angie Galois Perez, the Shasta Trinity forest engineer, and I am now the COR for the design of the Minersville boat contract.
Very good. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Okay, Marcus, you want to start us off?
Yeah. So where we're at with our project currently, and I got to visit with Jill probably about 4 or 6 weeks ago, and so she'll probably be happy to hear some of these updates. We received our 60% plan, our design plan, back from DBOW, and we were able to consult right before the holidays with our contract engineer, TEPA. And one of the concerns with that design, or one of the biggest concerns, is there was some questions on the calculations, and basically we found out there's about a $1.7 million deficit in the funding that we have to actually get the job done. Now that seems like a challenge. However, we've made a lot of calls this last week and connected with lots of folks, including our forest leadership and our forest supervisor. And we are trying to put our full force in filling that deficit through Forest Service dollars. The original grant was provided for $4.8 million from DBOW. So the current estimate is about $6.1 million for construction. So we feel fairly confident we're going to be able to cover that. We're going to move some projects around, reprioritize, cover that shortfall. We're very excited to have Angie, and I have been very pleased. She's put a ton of work just recently into doing a deep dive on this project, going through the design plans, and I think we're going to have some good progress here in the very near future. We are starting our environmentals for this project. We're also going to be working on permits through BOR, the Army Corps, and so our plan, our timeline on this is that we want to have this thing into contracting by 27, fiscal year 27. And part of that is because if we collect some of this money to cover that shortfall, that money does have an expiration date on it. And so we need to move and we need to make good headway. So we talking with Rachel Berkey, she's given us her full support behind this, and our strength as a forest to accelerate this. We know it's taken a long time. We know there's been lots of hurdles, but we're hoping that we clear a good path forward. And not to say that we can't bar all unforeseen events. Things happen, fires happen, events happen, shutdowns happen, but we are definitely going to put this as a top priority and give it a lot of our attention in the next 12 to 18 months. So So that's kind of the good news. Now we do still have some questions with TEPA, our consultant, our contract engineer, and these were some things that DBOW brought up, just some design features, potentially some places where we could save a little money, such as probably the biggest one is that the V grooving at the top 200 feet of the boat ramp is not really required, and V grooving can sometimes triple, quadruple the cost. So we will probably fix some of those little things that aren't required and help save some of the budget. But as of right now, we are not going to change our plan, and we are going to stay consistent with what we originally had designed. And we heard from the members of Trinity County. We will put in that double lane boat ramp with the launching floats as planned, and we will stay the course, and we will do our best to ensure that the funding and the energy and our human resources are applied appropriately to keep this thing going and on track. So that's essentially the update that I have. I don't know, and I don't want to. I could have forgotten something here, but if Karen or Joe or Angie have anything else to offer that I might have missed, please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, let's go around the horn on that and just allow all three of those to give before maybe we open for questions, just because they might address some of your questions. So who wants to go up next? Joe, Karen, Angie?
I'll go next.
Angie's great. Very good. Thank you, Angie.
Oh.
I couldn't see if there was like a raise your hand button or something on here yet. So the only thing that I wanted to just bring up is that our design contract does expire right now at the end of this month. So we will be getting a new schedule in place before we do that next extension. And so by the end of this month, we should have a better perspective on what that schedule looks like for receiving the 100% and everything.
Very good. Karen, you want to go up next?
Yes, thank you. Oh, well, first I was remiss in thanking Ms. Cox for this invitation and Kelly's facilitation for us being here. I did want to say that it is really important for us that the facility is responsive to the comments that we received a couple of years ago when we were there. So that's one of the things that we are really pushing, is to make sure that those plans are responsive to those. That said, we're going to try to make as many efficiencies so that, as we know, project costs have gone up 20-30% year over year the last few years. So by the time this gets constructed in a year or two, we want to make sure that we have enough funding at that point. So we are very conscious about our money and federal money, and as our fiduciary duty to make sure that it, number one, meets the recreational boater needs there, but also it is a good use of public funds. All of that being said, I am thrilled with the new team that is on board with the U.S. Forest Service. They have been amazing. They've been energetic. They've been positive, which is a breath of fresh air. And so I'm very supportive of what I'm seeing with Shasta Trinity Forest Service right now and the team that's on board. So full support by DBW. And we're just working out some of the details to make sure and safeguard, the design, and that it will last for 30 years. That's our intention.
All right. Thank you, Karen. Is that your report here? And then we'll go on to Joe. Yeah. So Joe, you want to go ahead and?
Yeah. I think one other item that I think Marcus, I don't remember if he mentioned or not, is that the project construction, when it gets to there, is dependent on the water level as well.
Yes.
So that potentially may delay the project a little bit.
Yes. Anything else, Joe, that you have in terms of just kind of updates or?
No, I think Marcus kind of covered
Very
Just-
good. Okay, well, I think we'll open it up for questions at this time. Anybody have questions for the team that's come? Again, thank you very much. Appreciate the bringing us all up to speed on where we stand with this important project. Yes.
Karen, Pete Finney, I just want to personally thank you for your commitment for this project. It's been 10 or 11 years now that we've been working on it. So your due diligence and staying the course is greatly appreciated by a lot of folks up here.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much. We really want to see this be successful, especially for those low water low water times.
All right, any other questions? Pat?
So I have a question for the Forest Service, I think primarily. So as you're trying to fill that funding gap, I mean, ultimately the role of the collaborative is to weigh in and help you all, get things done. So is there anything that needs to be recommended to the full collaborative to garner funds from the region versus, or anything like that? Do we need anything that we need to weigh in on?
At this point, I think that, I think that Rachel, is working with funds that are within her span of control or closely affiliated within her span of control. But if there's a letter of support or something that we need to kind of advocate for the funds here, I will find out. That was the meeting that I wasn't at because I was here. And so I'll get caught up on that. I have my check-in with Rachel at 3:00 today. So I'll know more about the meeting Marcus just came out of to come into this one, when at 3:00.
Yeah,
So
because the full collaborative meets next Friday. So
Yep.
if there's a need, they can make a recommendation to the board of supervisors.
absolutely.
So it takes.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, some of that is going to be looking at projects here in the region that might have had cost savings. So we're working with Sally Cousins. She's helping us define that. So one example was they were doing a construction project on the Mendocino and they did not use potentially all the funding there. And so she's basically advocating to have maybe some of those funds move towards Minersville. So we're looking for those type of opportunities to basically pick up some of the extra dollars that might still be sitting on a table somewhere.
What's the elevation the lake has to be at to begin construction?
Did you hear the question, Marcus?
What level of the lake does it have to be?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I might defer that maybe to Karen or Joe. They might have a better number.
I don't have that. I don't know that off the top of my head. We would need to defer to the engineers. What our intent would be is that we can get as much done on the project so that we can minimize mobilization, demobilization, and having to do so many phases. So we could, of course, do the upper level and parking lot anytime. But what we really want to do is get the ramp constructed and as much of the ramp constructed as possible, while minimizing the number of mob and demobs that are going to be necessary to get to the water level that we need. So that'll be determined on the actual water levels and the funding availability. So if funding is going to expire, we're going to want to use that funding as soon as possible, and then figure out how to do the rest of it. So it's a strategic game as nature does what it does.
Sure. Any other questions? Oh, Julie.
Hey, thanks. I just wanted to let Tara and Marcus know, like, if you guys need a letter of support or anything from the Sierra Nevada Conservancy for any funding, let us know. Happy to do that. And then I'll circle around with you, Marcus, or if Tara you'd prefer. I might have a few funding opportunities also that I just came across my desk thinking of this project. So we'll.
Great.
Thank you very much.
For sure. Happy to help.
One thing that I think has been requested at some point in the past is this group has never even seen what we were told that at 60% we would get to see what the design is beginning to look like, and we haven't seen that yet. And I'm wondering if that's something that can be shared with us.
Yeah.
What
percent was it that we saw in person Trinity Center a year or more ago?
Oh.
Is that like very much?
That was the first iteration of the 60%. So that was brought to the public during that meeting. Since then, we have gone back to the drawing board a couple of times. There were several submittals that were not attentive to the comments in that public meeting. So we've been trying to get those things instituted. So we're still at 60%. But I'll defer to Marcus when he wants to bring that back for public review.
Yeah, so we actually have a meeting next week. Angie set it up with TEPA, our contractor, to kind of polish up some of the concerns that the state had. So maybe after we get that kind of polished, that would probably be the better time to maybe send it over to all you folks. So I'm guessing it'd be about 2 to 4 weeks out to get that. I don't know, Angie, do you think that's fair? Yeah.
Meeting.
Yeah.
Should we shoot for the next meeting, or do we want to have a special meeting?
I mean, if it's that's, I think the next meeting would be fine. Unless it was sent to me and then I could just forward it out for people's review in advance of that meeting, and then.
So 2 months, Marcus, does that work?
Oh, and I kind of like what Kelly said there. As soon as we get it back, I'll be happy to send it out. So, and he can send it out to folks too. So you guys don't have to wait on a meeting.
It would just be this group, at that stage, and then.
But would the meeting facilitate questions though, and interaction, or do we?
Yeah, so if you guys see the plans ahead of time, then whatever, bring your questions to the meeting.
Exactly.
Because I have this weird feeling Minersville will be on the agenda.
I think so.
I'm slow, but
I'm catching up.
I pretty much.
Yeah. And so, Marcus, would you be available 2 months from now?
You betcha. You betcha.
Second Friday of the month.
Yeah.
13.
What
Friday
could
the
go
13th.
wrong?
There we go. Okay, well, excellent discussion, and thank you all again for joining us today. I think, gosh, we made serious improvement here, just in terms of everyone's kind of understanding of. So thank you, Jill, again, for your efforts to make it all happen. Yeah.
Joe, Marcus, it's so easy to reach out to. Angie, really lovely to meet you today. And it's incredible what we've been through when we have all of you in the same room at the same time. This is so nice. So thanks, Tara.
Yeah. No, I
appreciate it.
Great team.
Okay, thanks again.
Cool.
And just one piece of housekeeping.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Deep into the meeting, but we do have coffee too available.
So before Angie leaves, I want to ask her about Bowerman. Oops.
I think we lost her.
No.
Yeah.
Press your phone.
I don't know if I have. She's still doing it. I'm on it. All righty.
If I could, looks like Nick is doing that.
Yes. Nick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I know a lot of you. Nick Goulet. I'm with the Watershed Center, co-executive director. Very nearby to some of you here in my office in Weaverville. Sorry I couldn't be there in person, but yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, glad to have you, Nick. We do have you coming up in about 10 minutes. Does that work for you?
You bet it does.
Very good. So while Tara is
looking at Bowerman,
trying to work her magic fingers there, Trinity Camp's update.
Yeah, that would be me. So we talked about the Hayward Flat. We talked a little bit about Jackass Springs. Based on our review of the progress that we had made in the fall, we felt like we have a pretty good understanding of what the collaborative is looking for in the campgrounds to move forward with the tannery piece. I think we had agreement of that on our field trip, but want to confirm that. And then we'll start the next phase of timber offerings will come out this spring, I think, for the rest of the campgrounds. Also wanted to highlight the work that we've been doing, the manual work that we've been doing there by the Mule Creek Station. All of that work has been ongoing. And that's all that chipping and all that manual work is coming out really good. So yeah, so I appreciate that. But that's so we'll add the tannery campgrounds, and then we'll have another offering and get some more of the work implemented this summer.
Very good.
So, timing wise, so if the timber sales are coming up this spring, you'd have to close the campgrounds then this summer? Or
That
just
hasn't
wait
been our
till this fall?
So our staff does a really good job of working with Mike and Cliff on working on the timing of when to be in the campgrounds, the use, and it's not our intent to close a campground. It does get difficult because we close the campgrounds about the time the weather comes in. But I think we were able to we had plenty of time in Hayward to get in and get done. So
It was all tight, but it all worked.
yeah. So I would expect a similar
You
approach.
Put it out to bid in the spring, they anticipate the work not happening until fall.
Correct.
September.
Yeah, I'm not
whatever.
looking to close the campgrounds or make them unavailable.
Because I think like Alpine View and stuff would be one of the next ones coming up, and it's one of the ones that gets, a lot of the reservations and stuff. So.
Yeah, I know enough. Two things I know. Don't close campgrounds. Minersville is going to be on the agenda. So
Boy, you're a quick study.
so we would use a similar approach that we used on the first two. And as we go forward, the one that's in is that Preacher Meadow that's in North Trinity or
Yes.
Bowerman?
Bowerman.
Bowerman. Yeah. No, we'll use that same approach to keep the campgrounds open.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else on Trinity camps? Okay.
Oh, I'll just add this now. One of our new local contractors, Kephart out of Hayfork, has already started on some of the service work that was in Stony Creek, the Stony Creek units. So that work is already underway.
Great. Yeah, we did a bunch of pile burning out and around all through Ridgeville and things this winter as well.
Mm-hmm. What about the work that's between Ridgeville, the community and the lake? All that fuel reduction stuff. Is there a schedule?
Talk about on the peninsula. We did that pile burning. We did that pile burning this winter, and we coordinated with the local community. So they went down one side of the peninsula, and then you hit private, and then they were working their way back up. So I think all those piles, the handwork has been done, the piles have been built, and we burned them this past winter.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
you can see all the stuff from the road. I just couldn't see the stuff from the lake.
Yeah.
So cool. Thank you.
It's a benefit of having the call before they can burn. They have to show me on the map where we're going to be burning and what we're doing. And so, yeah, that works out good. Cool.
Okay. Up next, Bowerman Barn. Were we successful?
I picked up my phone and twice tried to trying to get a hold of somebody. Let me see what I can do. Because I think Pete Schmidt usually has more information than anybody else on the Bowerman Barn stuff.
Yeah. So the question, the reason I was asking about Angie, so the RAC gave money to the Forest Service to do the foundation work, and it's gotten delayed a couple times getting the contractor.
Yeah.
That's for the engineer.
To hire the engineer to do the foundation design, and the last slowdown was because of the shutdown, because they were going to submit it after October 1st. So I guess my question is, has the Forest Service done the hiring the contract, the work to hire the engineer, and then assuming that person would be coordinating with Angie to actually do the design for the foundation work? Am I saying that? Does that make any sense?
Yes, I tracked all of that, other than having just gotten back, and I'm really hoping that we continue to work through the end of this month. Speaking of furloughs and things, but things are looking good, and I apologize, I don't have a better update for you on Bowerman Barn, but having Angie on board now and getting her to sit down with Pete, make sure she's brought up to speed, and closing those loops, and then I can report back to you on the status of it. It should have been submitted. I'm familiar with the project and the RAC funding that went into it, because I watched all of you agree to fund that. So making sure we get things picked up and get that moving again.
I think where it got stalled the last 2 years was in contracts
and agreements.
out.
Yeah, didn't get it out.
Yes, that's true. There was a whole review process that was going on there were some additional steps in all of our agreements and all of our contracts. But we don't have those same extra hurdles to kind of jump through anymore. Those have kind of gone by the wayside. So I would expect that this would be a great time to make sure that that is getting into the system and moving forward. So
Yeah, and just, the reason I keep asking is, so again, McConnell Foundation has said they would help fund the actual work. Their next grant round, which we would apply for, is March 20th, so we're not gonna have the design by then, so then I missed that 6-month window again, and so it'll be September or something before we can apply for
there's another
money
one.
to do the actual foundation work, so, timing wise, if the contract's processed and the engineer is hired to do the design, then if we could get the design done in time to resubmit the grant application to McConnell, that's kind of where I'm trying to track.
Copy that.
What's the next window for McConnell? March.
September.
All right, anything else on, go ahead.
Pete Schmidt is the archaeologist.
Oh.
He's off the Chefs Lake Ranger District. But they have the the background with the Bowerman Barn, and he was the lead on that particular project.
And it's a really peripheral thing. Maybe you guys can help because I know Pete's just been swamped, but so the contractor that did the roof took the scenic byway sign off. And so there's no longer the scenic byway site number 9 sign. And likewise, I don't know what, they stole the rattlesnake warning sign. So,
Somebody stole it.
no, it disappeared when the contractor was at his trailer working on it.
They left their flag out.
They left the flag mount on the barn. But yeah, I mean, at some point, it would be nice.
It's funny though, you put those two together. Here's a scenic byway. Stop and look. Watch for rattlesnakes. I got that. Okay. So the scenic byway sign and the rattlesnake warning sign, Mike, we'll figure that out. Track that down.
And I
Carol, we
think
can.
2 other minor things, got damaged a couple of years ago.
The tree
Oh, yeah,
on the
yeah.
bridge, and there's
I think a bear chewed on it. I went and looked it over and
no, it's a tree.
I didn't see any tree. I saw a bear.
A tree broke
okay.
the
Handrail.
railing, the handrail. Yeah, it was a tree laying in
And
there.
and the fence around the cemetery got nailed, I think, by a tree.
Yeah, I didn't know about the cemetery fence.
Yeah,
Three cemetery.
yeah, because my volunteers are pretty much too old now to do much.
And I'd like to add another runner board to that little bridge. It's so narrow.
Yeah.
I've watched people with mobility aids. It doesn't work for them, and it's for them.
Yeah.
And so just one more question. So in the Bowerman Cooperative Fuel Break project, doing prescribed burns in the pastures is part of that approved NEPA. So any idea when you guys would be thinking about burning the pastures?
I'm not fuel, so I can get back to you on that.
Obviously, it always depends on the weather. What's your preference? You want it done sooner, later, or after some rose bushes aren't there out there?
I
Aren't
was gonna say, the idea is to get rid of the rose bushes, so I guess the fuels people would know when it's the best time to burn to actually kill the rose bushes.
Okay, so but you'd like it done as soon as possible.
I'm just curious when. I have no
This
idea.
week.
I have no preference.
Oh, okay.
I have no preference when. it's part of the approved NEPA, so at some point, I'm thinking it would get done.
And I think another little thing is I think I have always planned on removing the old sign.
Oh, I could do that with the chainsaw. I keep promising to take my chainsaw down there.
But that was something that's gonna get done at some point.
Which old?
The Forest Service sign that's inaccurate.
Okay, the one that Jacob Pete,
Yeah.
with all
The one that-
verbiage and
the
you
one
flip it
that-
over, it's actually another sign.
Yes, it was from the Klamath National
Okay,
Forest.
yeah. I'm not sure how I knew or did not know that.
Does anyone else get this? She's just,
We can
the
disagree
Forest Service sign. She's like, I have my chainsaw, I can fix it. I'm like,
That'd be okay from Pete to do that.
oh, well, Pete said so.
Don't dig a hole.
I cannot dig a hole, right? Cannot dig a hole, but I can cut down the sign. Yes.
I'll have to go swing by Pete's office and have a little chat.
We can take the sign to it.
There you go. And then see if he's got the other ones.
Here's your sign.
Yeah, here's your sign. There you go. Perfect.
Okay, we are right on time here. So we're wrapping up Bowerman, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, up next, Trinity Headwaters presentation. Nick, you ready to go?
Yeah, sure thing. And I'm gonna share my screen. You guys hear my audio okay?
Yes,
Okay, very good.
you're good to share.
All right. Are you looking at
It's coming up. There you go.
opening slide? Cool. Okay. Well, thanks for making time for me and inviting me to join you all. I'm a poor substitute for Josh Smith, who would be normally presenting this content. He's our watershed program director, and we have a vacant recreation division manager position right now. So that's actually who should be here. So any questions I can't answer, omissions in my presentation, forgive me, and I'll do my best here getting through the content. And yeah, as many of you know, like recreating in Trinity County is a real passion for me, and building out programming at the Watershed Center and working with the Forest Service, supporting the committee here's work, and working with the RCD and the community is a big part of what we do. And yeah, again, not my core job, but something I'm really passionate about. So I'm gonna run you through a handful of slides here just to sort of organize my thoughts, and I thought it'd be worth starting off just because I don't know that we sort of make this clear what some of our rec divisions sort of principles and approach are, sort of how we really center our work, which I hope is a good foundation for the rest of the discussion. Talk about Trinity Headwaters a bit, the sort of private land component that the Watershed Center now owns, but focus most of the discussion around this Upper Trinity, Sierra Nevada Conservancy proposal. Tuli, great to see you here. Thanks for being here and all the support as we've been developing this, as well as the rest of you. I want to talk about broader recreation planning and asset development, some of the other ideas we have around the county, just since we're all together. And I know it's not just sort of a focus on Upper Trinity here, and how that fits in with maybe what we'll do under this S&C grant, and then yeah, I'll talk about this impact assessment. I think it's on the agenda project with University of California, Ag and Natural Resource Extension, and then hopefully some time for discussion. I don't want to dwell on any of this. I just really wanted to lay it all out for you as kind of the logic framework we bring, principles and approach to our recreation development work. Everybody agrees with bullet number one. I'm not going to dwell on. We just think we have an amazing place here, and that there's more potential for recreational, use and impact in our place. Maintaining, improving existing and developing new assets and infrastructure is really key to realizing the full potential of our place. You all know well, like a lot of the infrastructure on National Forest System lands is built in the 40s, 50s, 60s, into the 70s, and maintaining it, upgrading it, modernizing it, reimagining some of it, and building it to current uses and needs is really part of what we have to do to realize the full potential here. We've got the natural setting, and we have to build out and maintain these assets to really make it accessible, broadly accessible, usable by all the people we want to be coming into the county, as well as our citizens here in Trinity County. It takes a lot of collaboration, partnership, and investment to make all this happen. You all have been at it, throughout your careers and your, civic lives, and it takes a long time and a lot of work, and it takes a lot of people pulling in together. We're really committed to that. Planning, environmental compliance, and technical design are just prerequisites to getting anything done. And you're talking about the boat ramp project, is obvious kind of example, Bowerman Barn, whatever it is, every one of these things it just takes a lot of time, and this sort of scaling out to kind of comprehensive planning, I think, is something that the Watershed Center is really trying to focus on. Let's step back, take a broad look, think about all the pieces of our recreational assets and infrastructure and try to come up with more of a master plan sort of approach that allows us to build out all those complementary assets over time, do the environmental compliance, it's essential, build out the technical design that allows us to then actually create a compelling case to go fund it, whether that's the public infrastructure we need to build or all the private investment that those business partners in the community need to put forward to really, capitalize on the public assets. And then implement, develop assets, maintain them, optimize their utilization, promote them with those partners whose prime role is that, public and private, learn together, hopefully celebrate some wins together. All right, Trinity Headwaters. Folks are mostly aware, but the Watershed Center over several years worked to acquire 11,000 acres of private commercial timberland, the sort of checkerboard. Are you guys seeing my scroll bar? Or my cursor, I mean?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we're in the northeast corner of the county here. So you're looking, see the Pacific Crest Trail is the red line coming across here. So this is the, familiar kind of watershed boundary in northeast corner of Trinity County. So this 11,000 acres outlined in pink is the Trinity Headwaters sort of land acquisition. Sierra Nevada Conservancy was really instrumental in that. Representative Huffman and the Wildlife Conservation Board funded the most of that acquisition. For the purposes of the Watershed Center is it has a conservation easement that covers the whole property. We're in development of a 10-year management plan, comprehensive management plan. There'll be and then that's all the sort of forms of management, fuels management, habitat management, forestry, timber, and there'll be opportunities for sort of public scoping as we continue to roll ahead with that. But the recreation components, of course, what you're interested in, there's some really interesting recreational assets on the private land. Of note, also, this is checkerboard. And so being able to work across the public land and have trails and facilities that span public and private land is a really important thing up here, and something we're looking to really develop on the private land side that we now own and operate. So there's a few things. So here's the Pacific Crest Trail. The Sisson-Callahan Trail is the most prominent and sort of really usable trail segment that spans our property and National Forest System land up here. It doesn't show it. Oh, it does show it. It goes all the way down to the lower end of this is the South Fork Sacramento above Lake Siskiyou. So it goes all the way to Mount Shasta. So there's this cool connectivity between Trinity County, the Pacific Crest Trail, Callahan down here. And so there's this underutilized trail that we're really working on redeveloping. There's been a ton of work on that in partnership with the Forest Service, the Seas, the Watershed Center's youth crew, Scott Valley youth crew, all working together to kind of build this out over years and to really improve it. And so it's restoring a historic trail and making it sort of relevant to contemporary uses, reducing the impacts where it ran through meadows and the likes, and over time, hopefully popularizing it more and sort of taking pressure off Pacific Crest, taking pressure out of the Trinity Alps, and really spreading it out across the landscape in the upper watershed here. So Sisson-Callahan Trail, there's a bunch of other small trail segments. I'm not going to cover each one of them. It's something we mean to really evaluate as part of this S&C sort of planning, Upper Trinity planning process, we hope. But I'll just note there's several other interesting trail segments. The sort of Little Trinity River has a trail. Slide Lake up here, there's a trail that goes up all the way to Pacific Crest. There's one at this little sort of Blue Divide area. There's some interesting kind of unused and derelict trails. The thing I wanted to highlight for you that I'm excited about, most of that checkerboard is sort of 640 acre sections or near 640s, and there's one little gem of a piece that is 40 acres that's highlighted here on this LiDAR base map that sits at relatively high elevation. So my cursor is sort of hovering around it now. So this is Mount Eddy. and the Deadfall Lakes Basin for folks who are familiar. Mount Shasta in the background. At about 6,700 feet here, 6,200 feet maybe is where the sort of cabins are. There's a 40-acre parcel that the Watershed Center now owns. It's about 2 miles over the ground to Deadfall Lakes here. Here's Deadfall Lakes, Deadfall Meadows Trailhead that many of you would be familiar with. So it's this unique piece of private ground that sits kind of wrapped in by national forest system at relatively high elevation. It's really unusual in the Klamath Mountains. Most of these places, if they're private pieces that are in holdings, they're not open and accessible and serving any public uses. They're usually someone's little special treasured place that you and I will never see, except on a map or if we stumble in. So what this property, this 40 acres has some historic cabins. It was basically a cattle outpost, and they sit right on the edge of this beautiful meadow system overlooking the Scott Mountains. Again, amazing location, proximity to I-5, a road that runs right by, really nice high-grade road, only about a mile off the pavement from Parks Trinity, the IP road, and on this amazing meadow system. And so we have all kinds of kind of habitat enhancement, meadow work, thinning, fuels work, in partnership with the Forest Service, and on our property it'll happen. But developing this piece into more of a public benefit as well as sort of public recreational use site is our goal. So having something like a shared lodge that could be used for retreats and for education, and a set of cabins that could be used for overnight stays, and pretty diverse uses is what we're hoping to develop up there. If anyone wants to be involved in that, I need help. We need help. I think the Watershed Center team and some, friends and colleagues have a vision for what's possible here, but it's going to cost a lot to do it. It's going to take a lot of money and a lot of labor, and it'll be a labor of love. And the public benefit component of it, to optimize that, we need partners, we need shared vision, and we need to bring private philanthropy and sort of grant kind of money and not private equity and debt into that development. And so to the extent we're centering those things, that really drive public benefit, like that's our real goal with that. And yeah, again, feel free to sort of tap me offline to talk about this, but it's a real passion project, and I think it's an amazing opportunity. Oh, the proposed Upper Trinity Recreation Improvement Plan. So this is the planning project and proposal we have before Sierra Nevada Conservancy. We've talked to many of you about this over several years now. We put forward a earlier proposal that was unsuccessful a couple years ago. While we're always disappointed when a proposal isn't funded, it also gave us 2 more years to really do more work and make a stronger proposal. And so, and again, many of you participated in that. And I think what we're putting forward to Sierra Nevada Conservancy now is substantially stronger, better aligned with the needs and interests of all the key stakeholders and partners we want to work with on this. And it'll have a bigger impact. And so we're hopeful it'll be competitive. It's through the phase one sort of concept proposal phase, and one of the select number of projects invited back for a full proposal. We're of course competing with projects from spanning the entire Sierra Nevada Conservancy region, but really hopeful on this one. I've got a map sort of laid in here of how we kind of broke out the project areas, the headwaters, the Upper Trinity Watershed and Trinity Lake area. I won't break out the individual maps or all the projects, but here's a sort of sense of what's included. There's this recreation needs and opportunities assessment associated with the newly acquired Forest Service lands, so the Trinity Alps expansion, the Sierra Pacific acquired lands. Right, they were industrial timberland 2 years ago, and now they're National Forest System land. They don't have any of the infrastructure that we would have built out if we were thinking about them as a public resource. And so they're taking a hard look at those, thinking about how they connect to the existing Trinity Alps trail network and recreational assets, and helping the Forest Service really understand what they have there and how it might interface with recreation opportunities. Trinity Alps Trail Sustainability Assessment, that's a priority that Mike and Pete and the Forest Service team and Sally have sort of elevated for us, and we've been really trying to help along with Ascend and the RCD and others, the maintenance and management of the existing trail infrastructure, of user impacts in the Trinity Alps, and really make it more sustainable. It's a national priority. It's a Shasta Trinity National Forest priority. It's Trinity County resident priority. Recreational facilities analysis. So that's really looking at all of the built assets across the watershed trails, but in particular, sort of trailheads, trailhead facilities, parking lots, trails, and Trinity Lake associated, recreational assets like the campgrounds, parking area, boat ramps, day use areas. And then there's this NEPA. So that's like left side. Like if you sort of think about NEPA planning, that's like left side planning. That's like, what is your proposed action going to be? Figure it out before you go in and analyze the sort of prospective impacts and try to disclose those. And then we have a component that's NEPA and CEQA compliant. So the actual compliance that would allow us to move through and move towards actually implementing some of these improvements. I just listed what the components of that are as part of the analysis. So it's trailhead facilities, it's parking, it's the Trinity Lake Trail that was been envisioned and that we've done probably 90% of the planning and layout work on, and that was part of Northern Trinity. It was proposed initially as part of Northern Trinity wildfire resilience, community resilience, but isn't included in that largely veg management projects. We're trying to pick that up and bring it home. It's been a priority for so many of you for many years, and we really got a long ways on that. And then, this Trinity Lake recreation infrastructure, everything about how we access the lake and how people use the lake, again, is sort of built in the 60s and 70s, and whether it's contemporary uses, larger trailers, pull-through sites, whether it's this dumping station that we don't have for RV waste, modernizing, improving the campgrounds, other boat ramps. Of course, we were just talking about, I think, Minersville, but there's several others that need improvements, and then the day use areas. And then this rec improvement plan. So the rec improvement plan is really just bringing it all home into a comprehensive plan, something that can be shared with community members, key stakeholders, the public, something that can be used to market and try to fundraise for implementation, something that private businesses can use as a linchpin for business planning and, generating private investment that builds out, that infrastructure.
Nick, is it possible to get a copy of the proposal?
The pre-proposal, I'm getting the name wrong of whatever it is to Lee Shirley. It's a phase 1 or a pre-proposal, but I think that's, absolutely.
I sent a ton of comments into Josh, and I'm just curious, if what's in the proposal. And again, we also offered from the CSD to send letters of support. So when you get to the phase 2, let us know on this particular proposal. But I'd like to see what actually got submitted. That would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. It won't come from me. It'll come from Josh or Danielle in our organization, but all of the partners who contributed to the proposal and who will be seeking to have sort of support or who committed in kind. We'll be circling back. So
I'll get with
Karen.
Josh and acquire that and then get that out to the group.
Great. And I think the the timeline, I think it's due in early March. And so, we'll be working on that through, probably picking it up middle of this month and trying to really, grind through the full proposal.
Nick, I really, the rec improvement plan, I have a pretty clear vision on what's kind of going on and what the plan is, working with partners and through partners for vegetation management in Trinity County, working with the collaborative group on the 5-year plan. I'm less clear. I have some specifics, like I know Ross's vision for a trail around the lake, but as far as a comprehensive vision for what the group thinks that recreation should look like here in Trinity County, I'm way less clear on. We have, obviously we have more opportunities than most places. We have rafting, we have biking, we have hiking, we have the lake, we have all of those things. But as far as a comprehensive plan for what you all envision or where you want to take recreation in Trinity County, I'm much less clear on. And if you got through this rec improvement plan, if you got to that point, it makes it easier for me to strategically plan the work that we're doing to complement your vision. And I think maybe I'm just the one that doesn't know what it is, but it seems like even in this meeting, we talk a lot about, sadly, projects that have been languishing for a very long time and getting them kind of moving. But we don't spend a lot of time visioneering about where you would like to go and what does the future look like 10 years from now in Trinity County? What do you want it to look like related to recreation? So if that comes out of this plan, that would help me tremendously be strategic and be a good partner to all of you.
I mean, that's the kind of thing Josh asked us, what kind of things, and this is geographically limited, so it's not the whole county, it's just pretty much the North Lake
yes.
But yeah, he asked what do we envision, so that's what a lot of those things there are on what we told him we were looking for. So there is a certain amount of, yeah, this is what we want in the big picture long term feedback that I hope got captured in there.
Specific to this project, yeah, and that fits great in this particular project, just like you said, Carol, but large scale.
Right.
It would be nice to know what you guys envision for Trinity County.
And we've done a lot of these Upper Trinity, like assessments for ecological, benefit, rec is just now a piece of that. And as I understand it, Nick, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but part of this SNC funding is specific to create that plan. Correct?
That is the highest level deliverable. So yeah, and the title at the top of this slide is the title of the proposal, and the rec improvement plan, which is one of several bullets, is the comprehensive piece that Tara is describing for the boundary of Sierra Nevada Conservancy within Trinity County, right? The sort of constraints of that grant. But with so we will, if we are successful with that grant proposal, we will have that for you for this geography. But I think one of the things we're excited about, and I think the next slide I'll start alluding to, is like bringing that together for the entirety of the county. Like, this is a way, obviously we can't spend S&C's money on that, but this is a huge investment if we're successful that we can leverage with other funding and initiative. And we've done a lot of the groundwork, like the scoping, what Carol is describing, like we've done that sensing and scoping, that collaboration to understand, like, across the county, what are the needs, what are the opportunities that people in the community see, key stakeholders, partners, your staff, Tara, Kristen's staff on the Mad River Ranger District, on the Six Rivers. Like, we've really been, about a decade into kind of deep work and trying to understand and work on this. It has never resulted in a sort of comprehensive plan, and that's where we're trying to get to, is having a real comprehensive plan that is that roadmap that you could look at, that any stakeholder or partner could look at and say, I see myself in that. I see how that leverages what I can do to manifest this. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Tuli.
No problem. I can wait till the end of your presentation. Just wanted to add some perspective from S&C whenever it's appropriate. So.
Yeah, you could go now.
Oh yeah, thanks. Hey, just thank you guys, to the whole crew for putting input together for this. It's really great to see this proposal. I think from S&C's perspective, we really kind of view this as an investment in the community to try to really, as Tara said, really put stuff in a document that can help all the partners, all the land managers really kind of understand what the vision is from the communities. And I apologize, our jurisdiction in Trinity County is just up northeast portion, wish it were the whole county, but as Nick said, it is something that can hopefully be built into a county-wide plan in the future if there is such a desire. How we've seen these operate in other regions in the S&C region is really, it's kind of just a first phase. And then folks and communities are able to revise it. They utilize it as a living document, but it also kind of works as that institutional knowledge of like, okay, where do we want to go as a community, especially as we see recreation impacts change, whether that's COVID, whether that's these heat events or major weather events and whatnot that are both affecting our rec infrastructure and also affecting how humans utilize our rec infrastructure. And so really trying to give local communities a resource to come together, talk about what they want, not only address the needs that are on the shelf right now that you guys have had for a number of years, but also kind of give you guys an opportunity to really look forward and say, okay, how do we want to use these lands? And also in your guys' situation where there are these lands that are new to the management entities, really give you guys a little bit of extra support to take a look at those lands and say, hey, what are next steps that we need to do? And how do we put all that in documents that can help us get more funding and pull in more dollars to do that work? So I know it's a lot of extra work for everybody in the short term, but hopefully it's work that can help support all land managers, all interested parties, and really being able to move the needle and support you guys and seeing your visions come to fruition. So, and I know from thinking about the Forest Service perspective, it's really, we recognize that you guys are short-staffed a lot of times, and however community and state can support you all in managing your lands and cross-jurisdictional management where there is opportunities. We're all in support of that. So excited to work with the watershed team on pulling the rest of this proposal together for early March.
Thanks, Julie. Kelly and everyone, I know we're over time, so I'll try to be quick on the last couple of slides, and I think we've alluded to a lot of this already, but going beyond the Upper Trinity. So if we're successful with the S&C proposal, Tara, we haven't discussed this yet, but certainly like a more, if we're going to do a standalone recreation planning, environmental decision, on the Shasta Trinity, on the west side of the Shasta Trinity, we'd love to explore the opportunity of lumping in other things. A lot of the work around some of these other project ideas that I have listed are pretty well developed. Some of them have lots of kind of pre-NEPA work done already. These are these things that we've sensed from these sets of conversations we've been having with folks over the last decade are priorities. The top, let's say, 6 of them better developed than the last 2. And I think, but there's no reason that we would, necessarily constrain it. I mean, we have to constrain it, but there's no reason we would have to constrain it necessarily to the Upper Trinity. And so if this is our one shot at sort of leveraging, matching the S&C money with other investment, private philanthropy or state agencies, and why not try to roll up a larger recreation planning effort? This also leads us down the road, I think, of developing a more comprehensive Trinity County outdoor recreation vision and plan. And so we don't want to stop at the Upper Trinity. I just wanted to kind of make that clear to everybody. And if your sort of interest, spans beyond it, let us know. We'll be asking anyway. We'll be snooping you out, and you also know how to find us. But and then this continuous stakeholder participation, fundraising, agency support. Okay, I want to talk really briefly. I know I'm way over time now on the rec impacts assessments. Right now, sort of like a pilot project, we discovered that there is this smart and capable fellow who is an extension agent, Alec Dombeck, lives up in Del Norte County, but he serves Trinity County, serves three-county area, Trinity, Humboldt, Del Norte, and um, he's a natural resource economist, and so economic assessment, economic impact assessment, and sort of really trying to understand and also publicize the kind of potential of economic impact in our communities from recreation use and development is it's sort of embedded in the whole idea of why do this, but let's bring some data to that. And so this initial project, Weaver Basin mountain biking as a kind of starting place is just that, a starting place. And some of you have seen the survey kind of circulating around related to that. But the intention is to do a bigger sort of bigger look at all the different uses, recreational uses and their potential impacts kind of across the county. And of course, you can imagine when you start thinking about what's the impact of lake and lake-based recreation, what's the impact of Trinity Alps trail-based recreation and backcountry and backpacking use, OHV use. And these are really interesting dimensions of, what we know are some of the big user groups in the county and that we're all trying to build more momentum around and that private businesses are kind of anchored around. So expect more on that. We don't, Alec can use his time in this direction and has an intention to. We have some staff time dedicated. It'll take more than that, but got a good foundation going with this pilot project. That's all I have. Thanks for all the time and yeah, excited to be here with you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. Any questions for Nick? Yeah.
Nick, is there a road access component to the Upper Trinity? I see a lot of infrastructure stuff, but I don't see anything that addresses road maintenance, road improvements, existing proposed in that
There is
plan.
Yeah, I mean, there is a not tied directly to recreation, but understanding that recreation is one of the uses. Yes, we have this broader Upper Trinity funding and support. It's part of what's matching this SNC recreation proposal. This is National Forest, this Forest Service money. This is National Fish and Wildlife Foundation money. But yeah, in partnership with RCD, we're really taking a look at the entire road system. The RCD did a watershed assessment in partnership with the Forest Service that looked at and mapped out the road system over a decade ago now. We're using that as a baseline and we're revisiting all of that. So yes, there is a roads component, not exclusively tied to recreation. It's about access for fire, for forestry, for private parcels, public safety. It's kind of for all the reasons, we would look at the road system, but for sediment. But yes. And I can tie you in if you want to sort of I didn't put my email on here, but if you want to reach out offline and get tied in with the people on our team that are leading that, our roads division is leading that up, and it's really just getting momentum right now.
All right. Any other questions for Nick?
Yeah, the last slide where you were talking about the rec impacts assessment. So just to be clear, maybe I missed it, but this is not part of the SNC grant. This is like a separate thing you guys are working on.
Correct.
Okay. I would say the BLM has a lot of interest in better understanding the impacts that our fishing guide permit program has on the community. Yeah, I think yes.
Yes.
That's kind of my statement. I can get more into it.
Yeah.
I have limited ability to support this at this juncture, but I think having a discussion with you all, maybe with Alec, about what as we kind of frame up some questions that we're forming around our fishing guide program, it could be really helpful to tie that in here.
You bet, Laura.
Okay.
So we'll tie in with you on that. And yeah, it is anticipated to be a part of that bigger look. And yeah, we know it's substantial and meaningful.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Nick. One final opportunity for any follow-up questions. Not seeing any. All right. Thanks, Nick. Very good. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to partner updates. We are running behind schedule a little bit, so we would ask we try to move through these fairly quickly. Any update, Pat, on North Lake Trails?
No.
Okay.
Do we need to retain that item?
Okay, we can.
Okay, because it seemed like you guys kind of had a
purpose.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to double check.
Very good. We'll clean that up for next time. Ascend, I don't see any. Trinity Trails, Susan. Any update for Trinity Trails?
I don't have any updates. We're working on getting our race together for the spring on June 6th. And we are recruiting new members, and there are elections for officers next month. So if you're interested, you can contact TTA at their website, trinitytrailalliance.com.
Very good. Thank you very much. So, did Nick stay with us or no?
No, he's gone.
Okay. So, I don't see any other watershed representation there. So we will move along. Tuli, do you have anything else for us from the Sierra Nevada Conservancy?
Just quickly, an update on state funding. We are awaiting the governor's budget. It's typically released tomorrow, the 10th, so it'll probably come out on Monday. But that kind of gives a forecast of what we're going to see for upcoming state funding for the next fiscal year, which begins July 1st. So go through a couple of revisions between the January 10th proposal and the final approved budget in late June. But that'll kind of give us an idea of where those dollars are going. Update on Proposition 4 that was approved by the voters in November of 2024. Those have been really slow to roll out, those dollars. They've been kind of held up in a legislative process. We did see legislation introduced this week that is aimed at speeding up the rollout of those dollars. So we're watching that closely. It's in the state assembly currently. And so we're hoping to see those dollars really start to move and get out on the ground to everybody to utilize. So there's a lot of climate dollars in that bond, a lot of dollars for recreation, for deferred needs, as well as for planning and implementation of future recreation needs. So we'll let you guys know more when we know more, and happy to field any questions or provide any support to anybody as we move forward. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Julie. Kelly.
CRCD. Clay, do you have anything that you'd like to start out with for the RCD for this group?
Yeah, just want to mention that me and Josh Smith are working on just plans to expand the OHV infrastructure network in Trinity County. And alongside that, I will be running a survey on OHV use and use of the Spagable area in the Weaverville Community Forest from January 14th through February 14th. I will send a copy of that survey to this group, but I'm looking forward to getting the responses to that and just seeing what the public is interested in, what they would like from the area.
So Clay, one thing we hear of the North Lake a lot is that before the Forest Service adopted their transportation management plan, there were more OHV accessible, connected kind of routes. So, but then, where you'd be going down like a county road, and then it would turn into a Forest Service road, and then it's back to a county road. So you'd have to trailer your OHV like on the stretch that was Forest Service because it was no longer OHV allowed. And so Are you looking at interacting with the Forest Service at all on their transportation management plan? You know, the other question is like, you can't take a quad on the bottom of the lake,
Mhm.
edge of the lake. You can take a it's legal to take a street legal vehicle. You can drive your truck along the bottom of the lake, but you can't take your quad. And so if you can kind of consider that when you're looking at the OHV network, that would be helpful, I think.
Yes, that's those are definitely things we've been discussing, especially since we've been looking at a project done in 2019 that had some recommendations of roads that could change designation, and especially about the lake bed, considering like the Josh showed me pictures of the ballpark area, and it does look, I mean, if I was riding like dirt bikes, I would want to ride around in there. So yeah, those are definitely things we've been thinking about.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Clay?
That's been the main focus.
Do we have any kind of events coming up in the spring at all to announce?
We have events that we are going to start planning soon, like field trips and the spring wildflower hike, but we haven't gotten the opportunity to get together and discuss what those are going to look like. I'm sure me and Skylar can get together and talk about it in the next week or so, though.
So Kelly,
Yeah.
Duncan and I are working on the annual bird watching over the President's Day weekend, so that's
Gotcha.
gonna still happen. There'll be the hatchery in Lewiston, Ewing Reservoir, and Hay Fork, and the Weaver Basin wetlands, each on a different day.
Great. Excellent.
Backyard bird count.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, how did the fire effects hike turn out when you put that one on in the Weaverville Community Forest?
Oh, it turned out great. We had 10 participants, which for those kind of hikes on like a cold, dreary day, I think is pretty good. And then the fog layer lifted and it was gorgeous. And working with the Watershed Center on that was terrific. I want to do more education outreach stuff with them, especially Aaron and Miller. They were really good, and I had fun. So
Great. Thanks, Clay. I don't, beyond the things that we've already kind of talked about, I don't have much to add at this time.
Okay, any questions for Kelly? All right, next meeting agenda building. Any agenda items that we want to see
I
on?
want to just say we should put Minersville on the next.
Think so?
Yeah, I just wanted to be the first one to say,
Okay.
I think we should put Minersville on the next agenda.
I think we can make that happen.
Okay.
I think the OHV survey would be cool to have on the next agenda
Okay.
item, since that's gonna close on the 14th of February.
I'm sure you'll want to know what our campground opening schedule is, and since it'll be, what we say, February, March, maybe March.
Yeah.
So it'll be probably pertinent to, we'll bring our plans for our campgrounds and things,
Good, yeah.
campground schedule.
Oh,
update.
one other thing that we oftentimes ask for too is previous years like rec stats.
Okay. Yeah, let me see it.
Like campground usage, that kind of thing.
Campground usage, while wilderness permitting and all that.
Is March doable though? I mean, will you have that data available by March?
I'll see with Lillian, because she is the one that usually does the wilderness stats, and then Joe Stubendick over on the Shasta Lake District. I think should have the campground stats, but the ones managed by SRC, I don't know, Mike might know more too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so we can put that on there.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
very good.
great.
I not an agenda request, but I have a facilitation request. You don't have to say yes or no now, but an actual calendar invite for these meetings would really help me. I know I can make it myself, but I always forget to, and then I double book myself inevitably, and I'm scrambling. So maybe it would solve my problem. Hopefully, it would solve problem for others if we actually sent out a calendar invite with the Zoom link.
That I can do.
Okay, thank you. Probably for the full
I
meetings
try to
too.
avoid it because everybody uses so many different platforms that
Yeah.
it's, you know, but I can absolutely get something together for you.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll send it out to the group.
Great, thanks.
I'll do that for both, probably actually at this point.
Yay, we just had this conversation. I'm like, I make sure those are on the calendar, like as far as I can get them.
Will do.
Right. Anything else for next meeting?
Thanks, Laura.
Not seeing any. Thank you all again very much for your attendance, participation.
Yeah, thanks everybody. It's
Yeah.
really good meeting. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Clay. Thanks, Russ and Susan.
Timing the stuff out.
See Doc, see
I know we are.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, I missed the government bar up there on the.
That was definitely a conversation. You're not gonna look like the last 3 years.
No, really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's amazing. When you get all the principles.
I missed a few, so I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'll talk with Mark just a little bit too about like how, like as we're moving forward with thanks, Jill.
Thanks, Jill.
About whether or not like now.
Yeah, oh, they're going to pick up a card for you. I just didn't know. And I know that text, I looked back, I'm like, man, is that ever done? I was in the middle of another meeting trying to answer.
We ended up,
I'll reach out to them and actually ask them if they want to be.
I'm spending more time, but it's okay.
Just as part of the, like, just to kind of keep up on things. Getting closer.
She's like, we don't want.
And then especially.
27 isn't that far away.
So
And I think
I'll
what
inquire.
it sounds to me like what's gonna drive this a little bit is so that associated with additional funding that might come in, right?